All right, welcome. We're about to dive into Hebrews chapter 2, and we're going to do it verse by verse. Now, this isn't just a study. Think of it as a visual story, a walkthrough designed to be so clear, so vivid, that the message really sticks with you. Let's get into it.
So, before we even hit verse 1, I want you to think about this question. Seriously, imagine the most incredible rescue plan in history. A salvation that spans the cosmos is offered right to you. What do you think would happen if you just ignored it? If you just drifted right past it? Keep that feeling in your mind, because that's the very spark that ignites this entire chapter. And that whole idea of drifting past a rescue plan, well, that leads us straight into our first section. See, this chapter doesn't start with a gentle suggestion. It kicks off with a really urgent warning. The author is basically grabbing us by the shoulders and saying, hey, you need to pay attention, because this is a matter of life and death. All right, verse 1. The first danger we're warned about, it isn't some big dramatic act of rebellion. It's actually way quieter, way more subtle. It's just drifting. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. This little boat isn't being rowed away in anger. Nope, the rope just came loose. It's this silent, passive, almost accidental floating away from safety. And that's the core of the warning right there. Be careful not to neglect this incredible message simply because you're not paying attention.
Now, to really make his point, verse 2 draws this powerful comparison. The author says, hey, think back to the old rules, the law that was delivered by angels. That message was solid. It was steadfast. You can almost hear it in this image, right? The gavel hitting the stone. Crack. Every single time someone broke the rules, there was a real, just consequence. No one got a free pass.
And that just sets up the knockout question here in verse 3. Okay, so if that old message carried so much weight, how on earth could we ever think we could escape the consequences of ignoring this new message, a message he calls so great a salvation? And look at the visual. It's so powerful. The person isn't fighting off the rescue. They're just neglecting it, just turning their head away from the one thing that can save them. And, verse 4 makes it clear this wasn't just some rumor somebody made up. God himself put his personal stamp on it. This salvation was confirmed with just overwhelming evidence. Signs, wonders, miracles. You could almost picture it like cosmic fireworks going off, all pointing to this one undeniable truth. This is the real deal.
Okay, so the warning is loud and clear. Don't drift. Now the story kind of zooms out and shifts focus from us to the hero of this great salvation. And what we're about to see is a pretty stunning revelation about humanity's original destiny and the one person who actually fulfills it. Verse 5 makes a really important point. That future world that we're talking about, it's not going to be run by angels. You see it right here. They're powerful, they're majestic, they're standing by. But that throne, well, that throne is reserved for someone else. Now we get to verses 6 through 8. And here the author pulls this quote from the Psalms that is it's mind-blowing. It starts with this question, what is man? And the answer is absolutely staggering. Humanity was created to be royalty, crowned with glory and honor, destined to have authority over absolutely everything. You can see that incredible destiny right in the visual, a figure crowned in light, holding a scepter, ruling the cosmos. But then, the second half of verse 8 just slams us right back to reality. It says, but now we do not yet see all things put under him. There's this massive gap, isn't there, between the blueprint and what we actually see around us? The plan was dominion. The reality is chaos. That scepter of authority is just out of reach. So what happened? And right here, this is where the camera lens just snaps into focus. We don't see humanity ruling yet, but verse 9 says, we see Jesus. He's the one. He fulfills that destiny. He willingly became a little lower than the angels when he became human, and he did it specifically for the suffering of death. And get this, it was through that very suffering that he was crowned with glory and honor. His path down was actually his path up. Okay, this brings us right to the heart of the chapter, the mission itself. I mean, why did Jesus have to go through all of this? What was the point of all that suffering? Let's break down the strategy of our captain.
So, verse 10 explains the divine logic behind it all. The goal, the big mission, was to bring many sons to glory. And yeah, he's talking about us. But how? The plan required making the captain of their salvation perfect through his suffering. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. His suffering wasn't a flaw in the plan. It was the mechanism of the plan. It was the very thing that qualified him to lead this cosmic rescue. In verse 11, this reveals an incredible intimacy. It says that Jesus, the one who makes us holy, and the people he's making holy, we're all from the same source. We're all one family. And because of that, it says he's not ashamed to call us his brothers and sisters. Just look at the image. This isn't a distant king and his subjects. This is family. Verses 12 and 13 just drive this point home even deeper. The author actually quotes the Old Testament and puts the words right in Jesus' mouth. He's proudly declaring his relationship with us, saying, "Here am I and the children God has given me." You see, this isn't some reluctant association. This is a proud public declaration of family. So how did he become one of us? Well, verse 14 makes it crystal clear. It says, since the children, that's us, are made of flesh and blood, he took on the very same stuff. This slide says it perfectly. Our reality is flesh and blood, so his reality became flesh and blood. He didn't just put on a human costume, he fully, completely entered our human experience. And this leads to the ultimate why. Why did he have to become human? The rest of verses 14 and 15 give us the stunning answer. He had to share our humanity so that he could share our death. He literally walked into death's own territory to destroy the one who held its power. And in doing so, as you see right here, he shatters the chain, the fear of death that holds all of humanity captive. He won the victory by dying. So the main mission, that decisive battle against death, it's won. But the story's not over. Let's move into our final section and see what the captain's role is right now, today, on an ongoing basis. Verse 16 makes the focus of his new role perfectly clear. His help? It isn't for angels. His mission is targeted. It says he gives aid to the descendants of Abraham, to people. Just like the slide shows, his footprints are on the human path, walking right there alongside ours. And for this helping role, verse 17 gives him a new title, a high priest. Now, what on earth does that mean? Well, to put it simply, he's the perfect go-between. He's the ultimate representative who stands in the gap, and he can make things right between God and us because he perfectly understands both sides of the relationship. So what was the high priest's number one job? The end of verse 17 tells us, to make propitiation for sins. Now, that's a big theological word, but the visual makes it really simple. It just means he dealt with the sin problem that had tipped the scales of justice way out of whack. His sacrifice was like that single drop of light that perfectly, completely, and permanently balanced the scales. And that brings us to our final verse for this chapter, verse 18. And wow, this one just ties everything together so perfectly. It says that because he himself suffered when he was tempted, he is able to help us when we're tempted. You see, his suffering wasn't just some event in the history books. It's his current resume. It's his qualification to help. And this image just says it all, doesn't it? The hand reaching down to help. It's not some clean, perfect hand that's never known a hard day. It's a strong, scarred hand. It's a hand that knows exactly what you're going through. So, we've walked through the whole story. We've seen the warning not to drift. We've seen the glorious destiny God planned for humanity and the incredible mission of the captain who became one of us to save us. We've seen he's not just a savior from the past, but a perfect helper in the present. And that just leaves us with this final, really important question to think about. The captain has proven he is both able and willing to help. So what battle in your life are you inviting him into today?